What's up, guys, and welcome to Trendy Talk podcast. My name is Amy Lauren. I'm a fitness girl living in the Balearic island of Mallorca. I'm a health and fitness entrepreneur, and on today's episode, we are going to dive into all things wellness, beauty, and the glamorous world of Hollywood. Today, we have an absolute icon joining us, someone I personally look up to when it comes to beauty and elegance. She was one of the stars of Netflix's #1 show, Selling Sunset, and let me tell you, she's the example of timeless beauty. In her 40s, she looks more radiant than ever, and I'm pretty sure we all want to know her secrets. She's not just a Hollywood bombshell, but also a fearless real estate agent, businesswoman, and someone who knows how to navigate the highs and lows of living in Los Angeles. Today, we're going to talk to her about everything from the toxic side of Hollywood to her love of fitness, wellness, and of course, beauty routines that keep her glowing. It's Davina Potratz.
Hello.
Hello, girlies.
Hi, happy 11/11.
I know, true.
Good luck day.
It's true.
Yes.
I can't believe we're doing this.
So good.
I know. So let's tell everyone how we met, because it's quite a funny story.
Yeah, so, I'm very into health and wellness, as are you, obviously. And we were both at Air One. I was at the Tonic Bar. I always go there. I always get a protein bowl.
Yeah.
I see a lot of fans there. And I was just standing, waiting. It takes a little while, you know.
We know that.
And I think you recognized me and you were like, hey, and I wasn't sure, like, are you asking me something about the food or are you a fan? I never know, you know. And that's how we started chatting.
I know. That's so funny. So basically, you did a kind of show in Mallorca.
Yes.
And when the show, I was also a little part of it. You were in many parts of it, but I just had a small part of it. And then when it aired, I was like, oh, I didn't realize like Davina was part of it. So I was like, all right. So then I seen the whole thing. And then when I seen you waiting
So funny.
for your smoothie bowl, I was like, I'm just going to go and say hi. Like, fuck it. And we got on so well.
Yeah.
And then we went hiking together. We've been to Era One. That's like our date place.
Well, we have a lot of shared interests.
Yes, we do.
And, we're both European
As well.
And
We just clicked.
Yeah, we just
So it
clicked.
was nice.
Yeah.
So that was the last time I was in LA, which was April.
Yep.
And then we were like, okay, maybe you're going to do a trip in Europe in summer. And then I was like, yeah, definitely come on the podcast when you're in Mallorca.
Yeah.
And now we moved the podcast to LA, basically for Davina.
Yeah.
So Trendy Talk.
On 11/11 day.
Trendy Talk is now in LA.
Yes.
So obviously you were on Selling Sunset.
Yes.
And I want to dive into that a little bit purely because I believe that going back, I watched a couple of episodes just before we're recording this episode. And first of all, when I go back to season 1, I was like, I hardly recognized anybody. I was like, holy shit, the clothes were more, not basic.
They
but
were
just,
basic.
But
Yeah.
just,
they were definitely basic. They were like,
but they were
normal.
More your normal, yeah, but your normal every
casual,
day.
normal clothes.
The makeup was like, sometimes there were scenes that I was like, I don't even think they're wearing makeup. It's changed so much. How was it with the pressure? Did you feel a pressure?
It's funny because it seems like so long ago now. But I had a modeling background. And that's very different than television or reality TV.
Yeah.
So also, the focus of the show was unclear to any of us intentionally. So the producers had their kind of vision. I think no one really knew what it was going to be,
Right.
including Christine. And so we didn't really understand what the focus was, what the show was about, and what people would fixate on. So I truly believed it was going to be about real estate. So Maya, Jason and Brett and I really were trying to get real estate clients. We thought it was a real estate show very similar to $1 Million Listing or something like that, So we weren't super focused on the look. Sure, everyone wants to look good, but it wasn't the primary, focus. So,
because I feel as the seasons went on, you were one that didn't fall into that kind of trap of the fashion and the makeup has to get more and more and
Well,
more.
so I've talked about this a lot, especially on the reunion, but I had a really serious real estate background. I worked for big developers, right? So it was rather conservative, and you really, coming from a modeling background, I didn't want the clients, especially if they were male,
Yeah.
to check me out and think, I might be someone they can date or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't want them to focus on my body. I want to look professional.
Yeah.
And I don't wanna disrespect someone's wife or a woman either, because she's like, "Well, how are you presenting here?"
Yeah.
You're not going clubbing.
Yeah.
So that was my kind of, perspective and background.
Got it.
So I was really trying to be professional and more conservative, excuse me, and I think that
You
Maya
focus
was.
more on the business side
Yeah, I
of
really
it.
thought it was real estate.
Yeah.
And again, like, I didn't understand what the show was focusing on. I don't think anyone did, but Christina and Chriselle having acting background, they were a little more sensitive to like, "Hey, let's wear some lashes because 'cause it'll help with those,
Right.
HD cameras." So
Got it.
we didn't fully appreciate that, right?
Got
We
it.
were just super raw, very untrained and just natural.
Yeah, of
And I
course.
think that's also what was part of the charm of the show, right?
For
Because it was
sure.
super organic and real.
I think the thing is, I think that's something that, I mean, I'm not even going to ask you, like, do you really sell realistic? She really does. Okay.
Mhm.
Like, she really does. Okay. So we're not even going to ask that question. But I think one of the things that, like, looking back on it now, it was just like also like the innocence about it all.
Right,
And also,
exactly.
you were probably, all of you as a group, more relatable back then,
Right?
whereas now it's like people are like, holy shit, like she's wearing something Lady Gaga would wear on
That's
stage
exactly right.
to go to, a
And I
viewing.
think that's where they're kind of losing touch with reality a little bit right
Yeah.
now. It's fun, but it's completely unrelatable.
Yeah.
And, Christine is very kind of flamboyant, outgoing, over the top. It's just her personality from
Yeah.
day one. And so regardless if we were filming or not, she would always be in these like extravagant outfits, even if they were from Revolve. It doesn't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
be a designer, but
Versace. Yeah.
yeah, but it's just her personality. So that was always kind of her
Her
look.
niche, her
And
thing.
so now I see a lot of people trying to imitate that,
Yeah.
and they're like trying to be that, and it's just not working.
Yeah.
Like, be yourself. It's not, I never tried to have like a chair purse or a phone purse or something that was, just to make a statement. It's just not my personality,
Yeah,
you
you
know?
could see like a lot of the girls like put their purses like
Mm.
directed, like you would have your purse like that, like
I absolutely
perfectly in
love
your
nice
salon.
things, as we all do.
Yeah.
I have Chanel purses, of course, but I'm not gonna be super loud and obnoxious. It's just not
Yeah.
my personality.
Get
And
that.
there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not me, so I'm not gonna pretend to be someone I'm not,
Got it.
you know?
And also I think that so when I obviously met you, I was like, kind of just, I mean, not surprised because I always, I don't, like to judge a book by its cover, but also I was kind of thinking, like, I was like, I know something happened with her in the show and there was drama, there was something. But I couldn't remind myself of everything that went on. And now I've went back and looked at all. Do you believe you were misperceived on the show?
I mean, that's a loaded question. There's so many things that happen
Mm,
that where my perspective was not shown, or I didn't get a balanced edit, so I didn't feel like, that I didn't ever even got an intro in 6 seasons. People had
true.
no idea I was from Germany. They had no idea I speak German. Literally had no clue because
Yeah.
it was subdued, it was hidden, and it was anything redeeming where, God forbid, I was smiling or laughing or supportive or funny or maybe even selling real estate,
Yeah.
God forbid, that was never shown in 6 seasons, which is kind of mind-blowing to
Yeah.
me. And I gotta tell you, I mean, especially Maya and I, we really were selling a lot of real estate, and we did the show for real estate.
Yeah.
And so we were like, "Look, we understand it's all about the personal relationships here and everything," and that's sort of the focus of the show. But we would argue with production like, "Hey, can we show our real estate? Because some of these other girls are kinda new to that, and, no disrespect, we want everyone to get things,
Yeah.
but we really sell real estate, and ours was just never shown because
It kind of
you might
seemed,
support us,
yeah.
and
Well,
that
it
wasn't the
kind of seemed
goal."
also, because I was going back, that sometimes I was like, oh, the girls are all together. So I was stopping. I was just looking at the bits that you were at, the best bits. And then I was like, oh, she's not there. So I was like, this kind of seems like a little bit unfair.
Well, that's my point. That's
So
exactly my
did you
point.
have like a schedule like, okay, you need to be at filming at 11,
Yeah,
you need
everyone's
to
schedule is like that. To be fair, everyone's schedule, like, we'll have office scenes and then we'll be there all day, and
Yeah.
we'll do like 3 scenes. And I mean, we've all talked about this and we'll bring clothes to change into. So we're at the office all day long, 10 hours. We're filming 3 scenes.
Long.
And our reactions are genuine. They're real. What we talk about is real. The drama is real, but it does get exaggerated for cameras, of course.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a motorcycle that drives by super loud, so we got to do it again.
Yeah.
Um, and there's no script, there's definitely no script, but
It's just highlighted.
it just
Yeah.
highlights and maybe something that to you, in respect to your life, is not that big of a deal. It becomes a big deal on the show because
Yeah.
you maybe have 10 other things going on in your life, but we don't talk about that. We just talk about what happened at the office that day, and then that becomes a focus with music and edited down from an hour. And now it's a 2-minute conversation, which looks a lot more intense than
Yeah.
maybe it was
I get that.
experienced.
And for you not to continue the show, I mean, obviously there was a time that you went through quite a dark stage as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And was that like one of your reasons where you were just like, "Do you know what? I can't, like, for my mental health, this is just not for
I
me."
I definitely had moments where I was like, "What am I doing? Why am I doing this?" And it
Hmm.
actually helped me think about the why. And that actually, in the end, pushed me to keep going
Right.
because I'm not a quitter
No.
and I'm definitely a warrior. And I've overcome so many things that I was like, "Oh, this is not gonna break me?" So I was like, "This is just not who I am, so I'm not gonna even let this, define my life."
Yeah.
And, it's also just not that important. It's a TV show, and there'll be some other TV show, and,
Yeah.
life goes on. And so I thought, I'm gonna come back and do now that I understand how this works and what the focus is on,
Hmm.
I'm gonna, play this the way I believe is right. And I think I had a great redemption arc in 4 and 5.
Absolutely.
And so, but I think I couldn't tell you, but I don't know if that was necessarily loved or supported by production because then, you see what happened, right?
There was a funny scene, and also like your smile, like when you kind of turned around, was so funny. And it was basically when Chriselle, I
The
think
Burning
she was
Man.
the yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
That was early on. That was early.
That was so good.
Mm.
She was like, "How much did your tickets cost?" And you were like, 400 and whatever dollars. And you were like, "And how much does your dress cost?" And everyone was like, "Oh."
Well, anyone that's been to Burning Man knows it's rather expensive. There's a lot of planning involved. You
Yeah.
have to have an RV and, it's a ton of planning, like flights and
But
everything.
it
And
was the thing that like she was trying to make you feel bad because it was like, oh, it was a charity event.
yeah,
Like,
the irony is I actually worked for that charity back in 2013. It's even still on my Instagram, and
oh, really?
without cameras and without documentation.
Right.
I think
Got
there
it.
was a story, and I have it on a highlight back from 2013.
Right. Okay.
And they were not only going there as a group from the Oppenheim group, but they were also filming it. So they really wanted to show off their charity. So
Yes.
they wanted to get credit. And
Yes.
then she was trying to make me feel bad, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Wait, this was planned for months, but also you spend thousands on your glam. So
Yeah.
why are we talking about a festival that's been planned for 6 months?"
Yeah.
Like,
No, I got that. But it was so funny because when you were talking to her, and then when you just like turned around, you were just like with this smile, and everyone was like,
yeah.
"Oh
She thought she was
shit."
so cool in that moment.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you just kind of knocked that right
Christine
out
was
the park.
dying. She was dying. She was texting me and she's like, "Oh my god."
Yeah, no, that was a good one. That definitely was like a good one.
It was so funny.
When was like a really dark time for you? Because you were even getting like death threats.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's one of the reasons, Christine and I became so close because in a way, we're quite different, right? It's
Mhm.
very obvious. I mean, it's so obvious that I'm brunette, she's blonde, she's super out there and I'm more subdued but we get along because we're, more genuine and we're actually really funny. We're always laughing.
Yeah.
But we had shared suffering. We had a lot of shared suffering and that
Mhm.
bonds you to somebody. Not only the experience of filming, which is really intense, but shared suffering of hate, of death threats. We had similar haters. And nobody really understands.
Well, how
None
would you
of
get the death threats? Like, is it
on
just like,
DM. But people are like, "Oh, babe, don't read it. Don't look at it." Well, you get thousands of repetitive
yeah, that's
negativity, like comments and hate. But it's the repetitiveness that's abusive.
yeah. Did you like get? How do you get through that? Like,
It's tough. It's tough. I mean, you talk to friends and family and you're like, "What am I like, what am I supposed to do?" And no one knows what to tell you
I
because
think
no one
because,
can relate.
yes, that's one of the things is that being in that situation, they're talking about like with the Liam Payne situation, that he was so young, got thrown into that show, but no one can like relate to
Mhm.
him.
Yeah.
And, everyone's trying to find the answers why he did what he did and what happened and everything. But it's like, where'd you go to in that situation?
That's it.
And
That's why I became close to Christine, you understand now?
yes,
Because she 100% understood. So we had that instant bond because it was like
of
no one
course.
else understands us. You know what I mean?
Do you believe that like shows and production companies should look out for that more and have somebody that can help you through it? Like whether it's a therapist or someone to talk to or someone to go to, because that's scary time. Do you know what I
It
mean?
is I think it's a very sensitive topic.
Hmm.
And I think that, I have strong opinions about trolls and online hate. And I think these are pathetic losers that have nothing else to do. And they're probably very depressed and trying to escape their life. And they're projecting their feelings onto someone else.
Mm.
But that doesn't help me in the moment.
No.
Right? That doesn't help the person in the moment.
Mm.
So, sure, you can explain it. And psychologically, you can be like, these people are impaired. They're wasting their energy hating on a, potentially fictional show or situation or
Yeah,
whatever. But that doesn't help that person. And there's been, especially in England, there's been people that commit suicide. And
I know.
my heart goes out to them because if you're like 16 or 18, you don't have core confidence. You don't have like, you don't know like, oh, it's going to get better, somehow it's going to get better. You can't see a way out.
Of course.
And so I think it's wrong. And I think there needs to be something to help them. I don't know what the answer to that is.
Yeah.
Netflix did have psychologists reach out to us, but what does that say? They knew that it was bad.
Yeah.
And, so I don't know what the answer is. The problem is the fans love the drama, so
Yeah.
that doesn't help either.
No, of course.
You
And
know?
production want
So
to push that drama as
well, they
well.
want a successful show,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I understand as well. So it's a give and take, but you can't like destroy your life.
Yeah.
So how do you balance that? I don't really know what the answer is,
Yeah,
but
it's a hard one.
it's tough.
One thing we need to do together is you need to find me a house here in LA.
Oh, yes. I know you
I
were
know.
looking.
I was looking. So this was like like pandemic. And
Pre-pandemic, yeah.
yeah, so basically, I don't know why this randomly happened. I was in Beverly Hills eating like grill in the alley or something. And this woman next to me, I don't know, we were talking about something and she gave me her card. She was a real estate agent. So this was like, I'm talking about like 6 years ago. And then later on, when I was like, oh, maybe like a place in LA would be super nice. Like I'm here anyways, like all the time. I think it's like my 17th time here.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's like nuts.
Okay.
When I'm at the airport, they're like, why are you here again?
Are you trying to live here?
I know. They're like, how long are you staying for this time?
It's funny.
So I then, through her, met James Harris. He was on
Sure.
$1 Million Listing.
Sure, yeah. Nice guy.
And then with him, he sent me a message one day. He was like, Lauren, I've got the perfect house for you. You might not be ready for it now, but I know it's perfect for you. And he was like, just let me know. There's no pressure. And I was like, yeah, sure, we can go and see it. And I fell in love. I fell so hard.
And that house was which one?
That was the one actually on Selling Sunset.
Yeah.
I think it was season 1. And it was like the hillside one.
Yeah, Jason's listing, yeah.
Yes. And I think it was still under construction or something.
Yes, yeah. It was a shared listing between David and James and Jason Oppenheim, yeah.
Someone did buy it. It wasn't me.
Someone did buy it, yes.
It was just such a nice. It was for me. I just loved it. I fell in love, and I just kept talking about my house in LA. I was like, "That's my house."
It's gorgeous.
It has a gorgeous price tag as well.
For sure, yes. It has quite a strong price tag, 38 or 40?
Something like that.
40
But
million,
I'm sure you'll get it for me for like 32.
I think it was sold for something like that.
Oh,
30
really?
or 30, yeah. 32, 30, something like that.
It's a done deal.
Yeah, I mean, they spent money to put the wires underneath, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that was it. And it had this beautiful like TV coming out of the pool. Oh my God.
But you have to imagine also when you're doing the showing, they dress it up, right? And
Yeah.
so it's completely open, but, like, would you really live with all the doors open all the time? Probably not, you know?
See, that is one thing that you see a lot of here in LA.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's this indoor outdoor. And I'm
Are
like,
you really
do
gonna
you
live
really want all your
like
furniture outdoor all the
and
time?
yeah,
Kind
and
of like,
yeah,
I mean,
and bugs and
and the
whatever.
pollution and then sometimes I think it must get so hot in these houses because they're all glass, you know?
Yeah, this is AC cranking,
Yeah.
and they have UV filter air on the windows and everything. It's
So you
high
are,
maintenance, high
yeah, it's
maintenance.
a high maintenance. It's like a Russian girlfriend,
Yeah.
you know? Like
It's exactly how it is, yeah.
it is expensive, but I sometimes think, oh, a place here in LA would be super nice. But then sometimes I'm like, it's that responsibility of not being here all the time as well.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
I've got you to go check up in my house.
That's why people do condos because it's easier to maintain,
See,
you know?
that's
Or you can
also
have a penthouse or a gorgeous view, or maybe you can even rent it out half the time, or I don't know, but
there you go.
yeah.
She's got my back. So this dive into your health and wellness side,
Yeah.
which I don't feel like everyone knows. Like Davina is like full on health, wellness, beauty, all over it.
Yeah,
Even in
obsessed.
our one, I'm like, they should call it the Davina Bowl at this point.
Yeah.
So she is a protein bowl.
I get a protein bowl, but it comes with, like, 5 bananas, which is a ton of
I
sugar and
know.
carbs. And so I was like, I watched them make it and I was like, "I can't. This is way too much for me." I mean,
Yeah.
this nobody should be having that much sugar,
No.
even if it's from a fruit. So I asked them to do it with 1 banana and ice and more
Yeah.
protein, and so they're doing that now.
It's brilliant. We had it together in West Hollywood. It's like a banging bowl. But you also are really into hiking as well.
Super into hiking. I lift weights too. I just, obviously you see the results on your body if you
Yeah,
work out and you just feel so much better.
absolutely.
And when you think about longevity and just like wellness long term, not just for instant gratification and looks
Yeah,
and, feeling good or whatever, actually for extending your life, all all directions lead to weightlifting, cardio,
yeah.
for cardiovascular health. You wanna maintain mobility, and when I see my parents, my mom smoked for 40 years,
Mm,
so 50 years maybe. She has terrible, breathing issues because of
yeah.
that and, mobility issues, and I'm just like, "Okay, you want oxygen, you want mobility, and to look your best, I think, is
Mhm.
is really to follow the wellness." And,
Yeah,
I'm super focused on that, and still I didn't have, I don't have pre-diabetes, but I was definitely more elevated, the A1C, so I was like, "Okay, what supplements can I take, and how can I reduce this?" So I looked into, like, the sequence of eating, so you wanna eat vegetables, protein, and then carbs, so that way your
okay.
bloodstream doesn't absorb as much of the sugar from the carbs. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole thing.
There you
I
go.
follow Glucose Goddess on,
Yeah.
Instagram. She's a good one, yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of detail, and I'm super passionate about it, and I think it reflects on your skin. It reflects
I know
on
you've got amazing skin. Like
well,
I
thank
can't
you.
believe it. Like honestly, like everyone also asks, like, is your hair yours?
Oh, yeah.
And it's like,
Everybody thinks I
yes.
have extensions. I've never worn extensions. I have a lot of hair,
And
you
it's
know
beautiful. Like
Oh, thank you.
it's glossy, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, I also don't highlight it, right? So that helps.
It's amazing.
But,
The hiking for you, is it because you do it so much and you love that West Hollywood hike as well? Is that also like for your mental health as well, being
100%, I was
outside?
just gonna say.
Yeah.
So I think, one of the ways to kinda, like, regulate your nervous system, which is kind of the key to having a peaceful life, is not being constantly stressed out and reducing cortisol. Is not being on a reality show.
Yeah. Don't do the reality TV
But
show.
but yeah, being out in nature, working out in nature,
Yeah.
and I think it really grounds you, it's relaxing, it's a lot more fun than being on a treadmill. If I have to be on a treadmill, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But, if there's a way to be in nature, like breathing fresh air, looking at the trees, "Oh, there's a bird," it kinda, like, makes it go faster.
Do you listen to music when
Yeah,
you
I
do
listen to
it?
music.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, that's super cool because the hike, I mean, I guess the kind of one that you like doing is the one in West Hollywood.
I like, Running Canyon, I
Yeah.
go the left side, it's just really convenient and
It's so
easy.
easy as
So,
well.
like, I'll work till 4 or 5 depending on, what the daylight situation is,
Yeah.
and then I don't wanna be in the sun because I'm trying to avoid the sun
Yeah.
damage, so I don't wanna be hot or too sunny.
Yeah.
So, wear a lot of SPF, go towards the end of the day, get my hike out of the way, go get food, and
Yeah.
do
Go to
whatever else.
Erewhon.
Yeah, go to Erewhon again.
I
This is
know.
a free ad for these guys.
I know. Well, yeah. I mean, they should give us something because it's so bloody expensive.
They really need to. I mean,
I know. I go back to Europe and I'm like, where's all my money? Oh, yeah, right. In my stomach because I've just been to
yeah.
Erewhon.
But again, that's back to the health.
But it is amazing. You know what I mean? Because you're the same as me. Like, we're not like going out and like smoking, drinking, taking
Oh,
drugs. We would rather spend that money like on our health,
100%.
you
Yeah, I'm
know?
just doing this crazy blood test. They do extensive.
Yeah, you're going to do this, right?
Yeah, I already did it. Actually, and this is a follow up to see how you're doing.
Right.
Because they give you a prescription for supplements to see if you can improve your situation.
Ah, okay. So what is this
It's
then?
called Function Health.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and they do something like 150 different things that they check.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's really good. And they do a lot more detail than the average doctor would.
Yeah.
And their ranges are much smaller. So they're not quite as big, but they're like, you want to be
Right.
in the optimum range, not in the acceptable, you know?
Got it.
Because then when you're at the end of an acceptable range, you're already kind of in trouble, you know?
But I mean, how old are you now?
46.
You're 46.
Yeah.
I mean, you look amazing. Like, I'm always
Thank
telling you
you.
this. It's like ridiculous.
Thank you.
What things do you recommend, like for your skin? What do you do? Is there any treatments you do? Is it just doing your hiking?
You know,
Doing
I'm
your
into a lot of lasers. I
okay.
don't do too many of them, but I do like lasers. I like Clear and Brilliant a lot. It's kind of minimal downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think it gets rid of some sun damage, but you have to be very good about wearing SPF. You
Yeah,
really have to be good about it. Even driving and things like that, you know, even PM sun
I
can
know.
make it worse.
It's
So
so true because even like this morning, I didn't put on SPF and we were outside training at Golds
and
and
you
I was
noticed
like,
it.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
like
5 minutes in the sun and you're
yeah, like
already,
no,
yeah.
it's like done. It's like such a
100%.
killer.
Yeah. So I do that. I really like Shiseido skincare. I love it. I use their Ultime serum and
Yeah.
their Bio Performance, I think, skincare. I use high quality makeup. I try to use organic stuff.
Yeah,
So not
you're really into that, aren't you?
well, a lot of the cosmetics have toxic things in them,
Yeah,
especially if you use them on lips and eyes. So if you're using eyeliner, I actually recently poked my eye with a eyeliner and
that's right.
burst a blood vessel. So it was like, okay, this is a real thing. Like you want to be using non-toxic ingredients because
Because you've
they're
done research into this.
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, fragrance is hormone disrupting. So, of course, you know, Chanel and, you know, Lancome or whatever other lip stuff and
Yeah.
skincare and eyeshadow, mascara we all use is going to be just, you know, they're going to have PFAS, forever chemicals on there, all kinds of stuff. You
Yeah.
can't use everything organic, but if you can use organic stuff on the lips or at least lip balm,
Mm-hmm.
because the skin is very permeable and absorbs much faster because you have much thinner skin and a high like circulation in there, so it'll absorb much faster than on your arm, let's say.
Amazing.
On your eyes as well, if there's some organic eyeliner, it's better. It's
Here
much
in
better.
LA though, it is like the hub of like the beauty places. I mean, there's so many,
For
like
sure.
there's so many beauty places,
Yeah.
but it's also so expensive here. I mean, just like going for facials and everything is
Do
really
you think it's
expensive.
cheaper other places?
I think it's cheaper in Europe
Really?
than LA.
But you know,
LA, I think, is an expensive place to live. Like, it's great because the health and wellness industry is just amazing. It's
optimized.
thriving.
Yeah,
It's like I get like ideas from here. I try to bring it back to
for
Europe.
sure.
Take it to my healthy cafe or,
Yeah.
you know, I'm also really into matcha. I got my own matcha brand. So I love like all those ideas and testing places and everything. But it is quite an expensive place to do that. Obviously, you can get here. I'm sure like everyone's dying for you to go to a clinic. So you've
Oh
got
yeah,
you've
no,
got
for sure.
options. So you're fine with
I'm
that.
very, very skeptical and I geek out on the science.
Yeah.
So the marketing doesn't impress me at all. I'm like, okay, show me the data. Like, why is this gonna work?
I'm into the marketing.
Obsessed. You're into the. I mean, we all appreciate.
I'll fall for like anything. I'm like, oh my God, that's so cute.
We
Look at
appreciate
the
nice
packaging.
packaging,
Yeah, the
but I've just
packaging.
been so overwhelmed with so many options that I'm like, you really gotta impress me here. Like, I need something that's gonna be
The
special.
packaging's just amazing. So being here, this is my 17th time in LA.
Wow.
And when I first came to LA, I hated it. I stayed.
You hated it.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Why?
I stayed on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. Like, right in
In
the middle of Hollywood.
Hollywood, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
it
horrific.
wasn't the right place to stay. I always had no idea what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, Hollywood, that's like the nice place. That's where all the stars are. Like, I'll go there." And then Sunset Boulevard, I was like, "I've heard this. Yeah, I've seen this on TV. I'll go there." And then I was like, "Oh shit, like this isn't the vibe." And then I kept driving from Hollywood to West Hollywood to go to Equinox, kept missing my gym classes because of the traffic.
Yeah.
Hired a car. I was like, "Oh God." But then I was like, I kept coming back because I thought it can't be that people like your actresses and your successful producers and, you know, these people are staying here. Like there must be a different side to it. So I started staying in different areas and, exploring
Smart,
that.
yeah.
So now I do like to stick to like West Hollywood or Beverly Hills area. And I know like where I like to go. But I have to say this sometimes when I'm here and people that live here, they'll go, "Why did you keep coming back here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I really like it, like the health and wellness." And they're like, "Really? Like here? Like, it's quite toxic." And I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen that side." And only last time was I here because we were talking about it in relationships that you can have with women and friendships
Mm.
that I was like, this could be quite not only a toxic place to live, but a lonely place to live.
Was very competitive, extraordinarily competitive because in all categories. So not just real estate,
Hmm.
but acting, modeling, anything entertainment related. Music, I'm sure, is similar.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not my world, but I'm sure it's extremely competitive. There's so many people. Now you have to imagine most of the people that live here are not from here, right? Including
right.
myself. So there's very few local natives.
Yeah,
And they're actually very cool because they're so used to the kind of entertainment and, people trying to hustle or whatever. So they're actually very cool. But most of the people are not from here. And they're like, this is kind of the joke is that they're the hottest people in their little town from Florida or
right. Got it. Right. And
Alabama
then they
or
come here and they're like,
Ohio or New York or
"Oh
whichever,
shit."
whatever little or big city or
Yeah,
whichever, wherever you're from, you're kind of like the big fish in your little pond. And you come to LA thinking, yeah, I'm going to totally make it. And you get here and everyone's attractive. Everyone is fit. I mean, you're just like, damn, like it's a
yeah,
hustle. And so by definition, everyone is here to kind of win or to make it in some
yeah.
category, right?
Hmm.
And usually entertainment related, of course.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
um, so a lot of the waitresses, bartenders are all actors or
Yeah,
trying to be actors, right? And so,
it just feels like living here. Like, how do you deal with all of that living here? Do you feel the toxic side of it? Do you feel the lonely side of being in LA?
it's not necessarily that people are bad, but you know, they, I think in general, not everyone is like this, but
No.
in general, people they want to see you win, but not more than them.
Yeah,
Right? So they'll root for you, but as soon as you're doing better than them, the competition kicks in and it's like, well, how does she get that? How does she get this guy or how does she get this role or this job or this money or whichever. And then it's the jealousy kicking in. And so it's lonely in that sense because they're trying to gatekeep their little secrets and
yeah.
they're not trying to help you to a point where you might exceed them.
Because I
And
believe, I mean, we're both very driven women,
yes,
right? We're both very similar, as in we always want, like, there's always a hustle. We want to push ourselves. We want to grow, right?
definitely.
But I'm a big believer. Before, if you were to ask me this question like 7 years ago, I would be like, no, fuck her. I'm going to make it and I'm going to push for this and I'm going to do this. But now I feel like as I'm more mature, if, for example, let's just say, we were both going to be casted to be on a next reality show here in LA and you got it, I would be happy for you because I know there's one thing, karma, one, which I believe in.
Me too.
And two, I believe that let's say you were the star of the show, you got a lot of success. Wouldn't it be so great to kind of be like a part of that for you? You know what I
Well,
mean?
first of all, I think, you have to have an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
And there's enough for all of us to do well. There's
Hmm.
enough money in the world for everyone to be rich.
Yeah.
You know, if you think there's scarcity mindset, then you think only me and you can't have success.
Yeah.
Only for me. But there's actually enough for all of us to do well. And like I truly wanted you to win your fitness competition. And it
Yeah.
was a tough one, but I was like, and you were like, oh, maybe I'll get second or third. I was like, no, you're gonna go out there and you're gonna fucking win that thing. I was like, you're winning it. You're the winner.
Yeah.
And I really wanted you to get that. And, I think it's a mindset, and you have to have some sort of connection to spirituality or purpose
Yeah.
or understand like how the law of attraction works to really support somebody. A lot of people are not there,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it is. Just last time I was here, I kind of seen, because also I'm going to places that are like more familiar, they know me more, and then you start seeing like, oh, that person, it was super nice to me at the start. I can start seeing a bit of like,
Different.
like you're like, that could be a bit of a toxic place to go. So I feel like LA's great, but I feel like all places are great, but Mallorca's also the same. Mallorca is a great place to live. You've got the climate, you've got successful people, you've got the beautiful houses, you've got the lifestyle. But when you spend a lot of time there, I can also feel it that I'm like, this place, I just need to leave it for a minute and then I'll come back. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah.
So I think that here in LA, it's like a big Mallorca kind of as well.
There's a lot of opportunists
Yes,
here,
exactly.
men and women,
Exactly.
and there's a lot of successful people from other places come here. And so there's a lot of rich,
Yeah.
powerful, influential people. And so people are like, how can you help me? What can I get from you? You
Yeah, you
know?
know what was funny? So this morning I was training at Gold's Gym, like always, and the second time we've seen Arnold training there. So I've been to Gold's Gym quite a few times, but I've never seen him train there.
Mhm.
And this week I've seen him there 2 times. And it's sad. Like it was crazy. Like he's got a bodyguard like
Yeah.
right next to him all the
Yeah.
time. And he's shielding him while he works out. And you just think, oh my God, like
What
what
a
a life.
life.
And my trainer knows Arnold. And my trainer was like, oh, let me introduce you to Arnold. Like you won your fitness competition. And you could see like Arnold was kind of like, what does she want from me?
Of course.
And
Yeah.
it's a
All
shame,
day, all day long. It's
But
like
he
that.
must be like that all the time. It's like, you know, is it
I
the
mean, he's another level of he's
yeah,
like world famous, right?
yeah,
So can you imagine for him? I mean, literally, how I am. If we go somewhere
yeah.
and someone approaches us, I'm like, what does this person want from me?
Yes. It was so funny.
It's just
The other day when we
yeah.
were in Beverly Hills and this girl comes up to you, you were kind of like,
I'm just like,
what is
what
it
am
now?
I working with here? And I love meeting fans. I want to be clear. I love meeting
Yeah,
them. I love taking selfies. I'm more than happy if someone's just like straight up, hey, I'm a fan. Is there any way? Of course,
yeah,
absolutely. But when they're not IDing themselves and they just approach you, you just don't know what to expect, right?
yeah.
And so,
Well, it was like when we went out for dinner, when we went outside, there was like this paparazzi guy. You were super good with him. You were so nice with him. You were
yeah,
like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can get, he was like, can I have an interview? You're like, yeah, sure, no problem.
Of course,
Like, you were
they're
super nice.
helping us too.
Yeah,
They're absolutely helping us
it
too,
was
and
super nice.
we're lucky enough that anyone cares, that
Yeah, yeah,
about
yeah.
us or whatever. So I
Yeah.
appreciate it, but it goes both ways. But when it's like trying to be a facade of like, oh, I just want to be friends, but I'm really trying to get something, then it's like I don't trust you.
Yeah, I get that.
So it's an
I
energy
got
vibe.
that. So to finish off, we've got a few questions, okay? A little favorite LA restaurant.
Favorite LA restaurant?
Yeah.
Great White.
The breakfast place.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
They have one in West Hollywood.
Yes. Well, that's Amanda and I's favorite place. She loves this place.
How cute.
Yeah,
The
but
food is so good,
it's
right?
very good. So we went there. Oh no, I thought we went there this
It's
morning.
got Tulum vibes in there,
Yes, you're so right.
Yeah, it's
There's
cute.
there's one in Venice as well.
Yeah.
We went there for breakfast, but we keep calling it the Great Shark. So in the first day, we were like, "Where's this Great Shark restaurant?" Like asking people, and they were like,
They were
"Do you
like,
mean the
huh?
Great One?" Yeah, and we were like,
So I think
"Yes."
the owner is Australian, and so
Oh,
the great white sharks are there's a lot of
yes,
them in
yeah,
Australia.
yeah,
So
yeah. No, it's a banging place.
I'm
That's a
giving
good
them
one.
a prop here.
Okay, so a place in LA you find most peaceful.
Most peaceful. I recently checked out this place called Robinson's Garden.
Oh,
And it's an estate from like 1920 or something. And they turned it into this like park landscape. And they have these incredible incredible palm trees from, like, I wanna say New Zealand or something.
Really?
Absolutely magical, yeah.
And where's that?
Beverly Hills, it's on a huge estate.
Oh,
It's a
cute.
mass it's like 6 acres. It's worth, 100,000,000, but it's not for sale. So they just it's like a place
All
you can just
right.
tour and visit. Really cool, super peaceful. I just like, plants and
Yeah,
flowers
yeah,
and,
yeah. And like getting
nature.
out
Yeah.
like that. One beauty product you can't live without.
Ooh, bronzer.
Oh, a lot of
Bronzer,
bronzer.
yeah, I need that bronzer. It just gives you just look immediately more awake, more
Yeah.
alive.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
gives you some dimension, highlights those cheekbones.
If you ever tried the lip mask from Tatcha, do you know
From Tasha,
Tatcha?
no,
Oh, it is
better than Laneige, huh?
life changing. Yes.
Okay.
It's like next level. It does cost a lovely $32 for
I
like a
mean, what
tiny
else is new? Yeah.
little bit. I'm like, oh my God. And then lastly, best piece of advice you've ever received, which is a hard
Ooh,
one.
that is a hard one to think of on the spot.
I know. I think it's such a stupid, simple one.
I think if you don't ask, you don't get. So I'm
Yeah.
very courageous about asking. It takes kind of a little bit of courage. You have to get a little uncomfortable, but in the unknown, in the uncomfortable, that's where the possibilities lie.
Well, you're very ballsy
Yes.
in
Yes.
like in anything. She's like, no, I just want that and this should go there. And
Yeah,
it's,
like we went to dinner
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't like this table. I'm like, this is not the vibe. I want that table. And they're like, okay. I'm like, cool. And I'm very sweet, but I'm like, let's just make this happen. And it usually works.
No, no, she's like
9 out of
such
10
a
times.
hustler. She's such a hustler. It was so funny. I was there at dinner with another girl and we are at the table and then Davina comes and was just like, no, this table's not going to work. We need that one. And you know what? We had such a great night and it was so much a better setup.
Much
So
better.
there you go.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, you don't get. I think for me, it's like, listen to your gut.
Oh yeah, I agree with
Like,
that.
listen, like the gut
But
doesn't lie.
actually follow it.
Yeah.
The magic is, and everything changes with action, right? A
Yeah.
lot of people have ideas, they talk about it, they think about it, they write it down, but they don't act.
Oh,
And
she's acting.
yeah, and so the action is where the transformation happens. And
Absolutely.
sometimes it's awkward, it's a little weird. I mean, I like to be in my feminine. Of course I want guys to approach me, but I've even approached guys because it was like that was the only opportunity I was going to see this person. I
Yeah.
remember 15 years ago and I approached somebody and we ended up dating for a year.
Yeah, you
And
never
so,
know.
yeah, you just never know. And real estate, you approach people. I mean, I drove construction sites, so I would have to go up to people and be like, "Hey, is the owner here?" Like, it's a little awkward, but usually works out well.
But you're great at doing that. You're a great example of that, absolutely. And what future products do you, products do you have coming out, or do you have like is there anything that you're working on,
Yeah, I'm
or
working on a beauty related situation, but I can't get into the
yeah?
details. And I'm also working on another real estate project, so I'm excited about
Woo!
that.
I'm excited for you too.
Thank you.
Thank you so so much
Of
for doing
course.
this. It's
Thank
just
you
been
for
so
having
nice.
me.
And honestly, guys, like um Davina is such an inspiration, like for me
Oh, you're an
personally.
inspiration.
But you are because you're just like, for me, I'm like, she's a businesswoman. She's a hustler. She's like, if I look half that good, like in 10 years, I'll be so happy. Like,
You look
amazing.
amazing, and you're an inspiration as well, and
Trying,
I'm so proud of you.
getting on my
Yeah.
bodybuilding fitness
Oh,
stage
and your 20 different
and my
businesses.
matcha
So
era as well.
amazing.
Oh my goodness. I know we've both got fun projects coming up
Really
soon
fun
as well.
stuff. Yep.
So, of course, I'm going to link everything about Davina down below. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.
Thank
Stay
you.
trendy and see you at the next one.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.